While it's been a big year in terms of change at Disney World, it's an even bigger year because it's the 50th anniversary. Today, we're talking through our plans for a hypothetical anniversary trip to Walt Disney World.
Welcome to Always Planning Disney, where planning is half the fun. I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Melissa.
And on this channel, we talk through all of the details that go into making our vacations magical.
So I said a hypothetical anniversary trip, but as I was thinking about this topic, I got really into the idea of an anniversary trip, which is interesting because I worked to avoid going this year to Disney. It was originally a year we were going to go, and then I didn't want to deal with crowds, and I don't know, I was so focused on like the potential for it being a crowded time of year, I overlooked all of the things I would actually kind of like. But as it turns out, if they're doing this for 18 months, I think I'll still be there during the celebration in early 2023.
That's just it. Yeah, they're keeping the party going for a really long time. We weren't purposefully avoiding the anniversary like I know you were. My first Disney trip was actually the 25th anniversary with the birthday cake castle. So I got nothing against anniversaries, but we wouldn't have gone this fall anyway. It would have been too close to our previous trip. So we're excited to hopefully catch a little bit of it without all of the insane crowds on our next trip. It's still fun to think about what our trips would be like if we were going for October 1st, though.
Yeah. And the first thing that I thought of was, well, if we're going to go, it's going to be a regular Disney trip. We're going to make a whole week of it. And the more I thought about it, I was kind of wondering if, well, maybe it's better to do an anniversary trip, just anniversary highlights, like a shorter trip. What were you thinking?
Yeah, we had the same conversation. So I was talking about this topic with my husband, and he was like, well, it's a 12-day trip because that's what we want for our next trip if we can pull it off. He's like, of course, it would be a 12-day trip. And I said, but there will be so many people there. It's going to be so crowded, and we don't like crowds. So I would actually, if I were going this time, I would keep it a really short and sweet trip to minimize that crowd time, but still get the anniversary experience.
Yep. And that works for me too, because I'm still a little salty about the changes and everything being an additional cost. So a shorter Disney trip is going to save on a lot of that money. And also I was thinking, what do I want to do during an anniversary trip? And really, I just want to enjoy Disney as a place. So perhaps we don't necessarily have to be, skipping the line on all of the rides if we're there to enjoy, all of the shows and the look and feel and just being there. So I think my anniversary trip would be scaled back just to focus on, Disney as a physical place more so than that week-long trip. We're doing all the rides.
Yeah, I completely agree. Okay, so got to start with resort, right? Once you've got your length of stay figured out, you've got to start with the resort. And our family has got to go with one of those opening day resorts. We're celebrating 50 years of Disney World. So we would pick our bucket list monorail resort. And for us, that's the Polynesian. We would love to stay at the Polynesian. We love the vibes there. So that would definitely be our anniversary trip resort. And if we're splurging, let's do a club level and let's do Lagoon View, right? And really enjoy our time there. So the club lounge would be really nice for our arrival and departure days because then we don't have to worry about food. It's already taken care of and we can just go relax in the club lounge. And if we had a Lagoon View room, then we could watch the electrical water pageant from our room. And we've actually never seen that before somehow. So that would be a really cool thing for us to do on an anniversary trip.
I love the electrical water pageant. And when I was younger and we would go as a family, I would watch it every night from our balcony. And I have even watched YouTube videos of it just for that like nostalgia feeling. So when I was thinking about my resort, initially I started off with Boardwalk because, as we've talked about, it's been my front runner for a long time for the next trip. But when I focused in on this being an anniversary, shorter vacation, not our big week-long ride all the rides sort of trip, I realized that the parts that I like best about Boardwalk, which is that it has great things to do at the resort. Also, you have the entire boardwalk and you can walk back from Epcot every night because my plan is probably to be at Epcot every single night. Those are at odds with my anniversary focus. So I'm switching over to contemporary. Again, it's another day one. It's a day one resort. It is going to have probably a really great anniversary feel, and being able to walk to Magic Kingdom is pretty awesome.
And it's nostalgic for you, right? Like you stayed there all the time growing up. So that would be really fun.
Yep, get to return. And also, I do like the Incredibles retheming of some of the rooms. I'm not a stickler for everything having to stay the same, so I like that theming.
I'm enjoying the new IP in the rooms.
So arrival day, for me, we've talked a lot about arrival day, and I have said that I want my arrival day to be low key going forward, and I'm definitely keeping that even for a shorter anniversary trip. Arrival day will be arrival day. Disney Springs, maybe some time at the resort. And then for the length of stay, this was tough for me, so I'm going to need some feedback here. I was thinking, obviously, the first day, full day Magic Kingdom on October 1st. Let's just really lean into this anniversary, followed by a full day at Epcot. And then I want some downtime. So a pool and resort day. And this is probably when we would go to Ohana, because I know we're not flying all the way to Orlando without eating at Ohana. And we usually do that on a day where we're at a half day park or something. So might as well layer it with an off day for us. And then I don't know if I'm going to include an Animal Kingdom or Hollywood Studios day. This was a tough call for me. And I figured maybe we could do a split day between those two. I want to see the kites at Animal Kingdom. And so in order to do that, I have to be at Animal Kingdom at some point, but that is never a full day park for us. So are we just going to get a park hopper and go to Hollywood Studio, or maybe hit up Epcot again? And I feel like you need a full second day at Magic Kingdom. So I'm not so sure. As I was thinking it through, it slowly became what is that? A 5-day trip, which is not at all what I was aiming for. So my itinerary is not there yet. What do you got?
It's a good thing we're hypothetical, so you don't have to make a decision.
I know, that's true. It feels like I do, though.
No pressure. It's just you two. So if it were up to me alone, if I were in charge of this trip and everyone just had to do what I said, I would have a 4-day trip. So we would have arrival day, departure day. We would go to Magic Kingdom on the 1st and Epcot on the 2nd. That's how I would do this trip, because the crowds are going to be so crazy. Obviously, I'm choosing the worst crowd itinerary, but like, come on, if you're there for the anniversary, and we're of course imagining you could still get park reservations for those days, which I know have been sold out for a while, but imagining that that's possible, like that's what I'd want to do for an anniversary trip. I don't think I could convince my husband to skip Hollywood Studios because of Star Wars and Animal Kingdom because that's like his favorite park. So I think I'd have a fight on my hands, but if it were up to me, it would be a super short trip, just hit the highlights for the anniversary.
Sounds pretty good. Although I think I too would have a hard time skipping half of the parks when I was there. But as long as I'm framing it as, first of all, this isn't a real trip, so I have to like let some of that stress go. But also, if this is not replacing one of our regular every 3-year trips, it's sort of like a bonus version, then I probably could do the 4-day version like what you have. But I still want to see those kites at Animal Kingdom.
That's true. I had kind of forgotten about the kites, and we would want to see the kites.
Yeah,
it's a good thing this is hypothetical.
So speaking of kites, one of my must-dos for an anniversary trip is going to be the new nighttime shows. And I think I'm more excited for the Epcot nighttime show, even though I'm really looking forward to watching videos of Main Street USA all illuminated as well.
Yeah, nighttime shows are really like the big reason to be down there for the anniversary, I think, is like being one of the first people to see those nighttime shows because they're going to be so cool. So I think in terms of our daytime schedule at the Magic Kingdom, we would probably keep that pretty chill and focused mostly on appreciating those opening day attractions like Jungle Cruise and Small World and Haunted Mansion. And other than that, just like spend the day enjoying the place, like slow down, have a coffee on Main Street, listen to the Dapper Dans. And then the real focus would be scoping out a good spot for the new fireworks show, because those projections on Main Street are going to be so cool. So I'm wondering, like, does the best spot for the fireworks now become like down by that main flagpole right at the entrance, so that you could then see all of it? I'll be curious what the vloggers have to tell me about that.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder what it's going to look like when you are along Main Street and pretty close to those projections. I'm
Mhm.
sure whatever Disney is doing is going to be wonderful, but in terms of like distortion or being able to even understand what's like glittering across the buildings, I wonder if that's going to make a difference.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited to see it.
I know. I agree that my focus is going to be more on park observing as opposed to riding rides on my Imaginary Magic Kingdom and Epcot day, with the exception of Remy. I'm really looking forward to getting on that ride and also just enjoying the new France Pavilion, because there are more food options that are going to be available there. And I think we'll spend more time in that section, whereas in years past, it's been a great place to meet a princess or two, usually in the gazebo. But I think we'll dig into France a little bit more. We had also, my family and I have watched a lot of videos about Food and Wine, and we are torn about whether or not it is worth it to do the fromage montage that they are offering, because I don't know if it's 4 or 5 different cheese dishes that you work your way through, but that's a lot of cheese dishes. And then the reward is more cheese. And I'm thinking between the 4 of us, we could probably get it done. And we really do want to have like the collector cup as evidence we completed it. But yeah, we've spent a lot of time talking through fromage montage for people who are not even at Epcot.
Okay, so our families can just meet up at Epcot on the 2nd. I mean, we have very similar itineraries. So I feel like all of our family can meet up at Epcot, and we can go explore the France Pavilion, because like that's going to be the really center place to be on that day. The whole park is going to be there. It's going to be insane. But like that's what everybody's going to want to see. That's what I want to see. But if we have both of our families doing the fromage montage, that's a lot less cheese. And we have not been there for Food and Wine. So I think France Pavilion would be our focus, and pretty much everything else, including food and wine, would be kind of a bonus for the day.
Mm-hmm. And Space 220. If it's real, I would like to try Space 220, which was one of,
Are you
it
sure
was,
about that?
yeah, listen, it was one of our wish list items for our 2020 trip because it was supposed to be open then. So I'm keeping it on my list, but I am not
Melissa,
convinced it's a real place.
Melissa, okay, let's pretend that it is a real place to start with. You said in our episode on what you would never go on again, you said that the space rides are not for you. And this is like a little bit of ride to get to the restaurant. I'm concerned for you.
Yes, I saw some concept art. And when I saw the concept art, I said, oh, I don't think I can go to Space 220 because it looked a little confined. And I realized that any window is not a real window because
Yeah.
we are not in space, but you look like you are. And so then I was wondering, what am I trapped inside?
Mhm.
And where are the exits? But I don't know. I might have to have a drink first, and then I might be able to successfully ride an elevator. The elevator's got to be fake, right? Well, of course, it doesn't matter because Flight of Passage isn't all that real of an elevator. And when I'm in there, I have to turn and face a cast member to survive.
I guess I'm just saying that maybe that restaurant, maybe you don't want to be one of the first people to go to that restaurant. Like maybe you want to watch some reviews first. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to have to, because how horrible for a group of people if your flight to space gets canceled because somebody's having a panic attack due to fake outer space.
I'm sure you wouldn't be the first person though. Although if you went on the first day they were open, maybe you would be.
I know.
You'd have your name on the wall in the cast member area or something.
They're gonna have a picture of me like, don't let this woman into anything dark or confined.
She thinks she wants to go, but she doesn't.
Don't let her in.
Okay, well, I mean, we can get the drinks while we're doing the fromage montage, and then you can decide
Yes,
if you want to follow through on Space 220. So
sounds good.
there you go. We'll figure it out. And then of course staying for Harmonious, which like I'm very curious where the good spot for that will be now, because like before you had pretty good viewing all around the lagoon, and now it seems like it's going to be a little more directional. So we'll see.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Well, it just because like the center is only, it's not like it's rotating, I don't think. It's just like a flat circle, right? So I don't know. I think there are going to be better and worse places to watch Harmonious. But again, look into the vloggers. Glad some of you are going to be there.
Right.
So outside of our park days, I was thinking about like what else we would do, because like we've wanted to stay at the Polynesian. We've never stayed there. We've only like popped in a few times just to take in the vibes of the Poly. So you mentioned Ohana. We would also love to go to Ohana since we've never been there before. I know I said I'm staying club level and that would have a lot of the same food, but it wouldn't be Ohana. So like, I mean, if we're having a splurge trip, maybe I just do it anyway, or maybe I have the noodles at the club lounge. I don't know. I'll figure it out. And then we'd also have to find some way to get to Trader Sam's. We tried to go to Trader Sam's our last trip and it didn't work out. And we so want to go and like experience the enchanted tiki vibes in that lounge. So that would need to happen if we were staying at the Poly. We couldn't leave without having gone there. But I guess we'll have to bring along my folks so that they can watch our son and we can go to Trader Sam's. So I hope they're on board. And I think we just try to relax at the Polynesian on our travel days as much as we can and like check out the pools, have some Dole Whips, all that kind of stuff on those travel days, since we wouldn't be going to the parks on those days.
Yep. And I agree with having downtime at the resort and also a little bit of resort hopping for us as well, especially to feel out potential future places to stay, which is something that I like to do. And I have a feeling that there's going to be maybe some sort of special Easter egg anniversary things scattered through resorts, and we could maybe go on a hunt for those. I think if we're spending less time worrying about riding rides during our anniversary trip and more time observing, that's the type of thing that would fit in. And also it caters a little bit to Jack because we know he is a non-rider. And one of those things I'm looking forward to as well is also gold statue hunting. I'm pretty pumped I'm pretty pumped for gold statues. I have seen pictures of some. I think they're adorable. Lady and the Tramp, I saw that one and was very excited to get to walk around and try to find these. I'm also glad that they went gold instead of the iridescence. I don't have a problem with some of the iridescent accents, but I do not like the updated castle. I'm not a fan of the color scheme. And I think my problem with it, if I can like express this thesis as concisely as possible, is that it photographs well, especially given the filters that people use and sort of the lightening and brightening of photography right now. It photographs beautifully, but in person, it's just a little too, it's not as attractive in person. There's a boldness to it that I think I just prefer that pale blue-gray Cinderella's castle. And I know that there is some variation in tone that helps give it the visual height. But when you're in person, it really is a two different color castle. It's just not as pretty in person.
I think it's beautiful. I love it. I love the deep blue. I love that rose gold. And if that makes me like a stereotypical millennial, like so be it. I love rose gold. So I'm a big fan. I love the new castle. I'll be interested to see what it looks like after the 50th is over, because like right now it's so decked out for the anniversary. And so I'll be interested to see like, are they gonna like just take down the extra stuff and keep the colors? Are we gonna see another color change after the anniversary? I'll be interested in that. But I was actually thinking one of the things on my itinerary, if I could pull it off, would be to book one of those capture your moment sessions with a photographer in front of the anniversary castle, because that would just be like a really cool keepsake from our trip. And it would be fun to have a dedicated photographer instead of like, I always feel like I can't even be photogenic when I'm like worried about there being a line behind the photo pass photographer. So it would be nice to have one that's like just ours for 20 minutes.
And the photo pass is one of my favorite add-ons. I think it's the best souvenir you can get, especially as the mom who is likely the one who will be taking all of the pictures. So therefore we are not in the pictures. I think that's a wonderful splurge for any trip, not just the anniversary. Back to the castle real quick. What did you think of the 25th anniversary castle?
I liked it.
You
I know
liked the cake too?
that's an unpopular opinion. I liked it. It was a big birthday cake. It was pink. I don't know. It was silly and fun, and it was like I guess it was a little weird for my first trip because like the Disney World that I had grown up knowing about wasn't the same one that I was visiting because it had this like really wild castle going on. But I liked it. And it was temporary is the other thing. Like we knew we were getting the old castle back after it became a birthday cake for the 25th.
I think the birthday cake was fun. I don't think I would want to experience it if it was going to be like my only Disney trip. You know,
Sure.
it feels more like an add-on. And you hit on an interesting point. I think part of the apprehension I have with this iridescent castle is I don't know where it's going next. And so it feels very permanent to me. And I really am attached to my original Cinderella's castle. I do like the dark blue roof accents though. Those can stay. That's a nice little highlight.
Those can stay. You give your permission.
Yes, because Disney is constantly asking me for permission.
Yes. Yeah, they really care what we have to say. Well, so speaking of that dark blue, which I think is beautiful, that's the color of a lot of their merch for the 50th. And so I would be going shopping on this trip as well. I've seen some really cute shirts. I even like the Spirit jerseys, and I am not normally a Spirit jersey person. I think they're overpriced. And I don't know. I guess I haven't found a design that I like enough to spend that kind of money on it, but I might spend that kind of money for the 50th anniversary one. I think it's pretty cute.
I've only seen previews of some of the merch, and a lot of that series, I was like, I could live without it. I don't know, but I was excited about the Vault collection. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. And of their castle collection items, there's a set of ears that are very like typical gold straight sort of like playing it straight mini ears. I like those, even though ears give me a headache after a little while, so I really should stop buying them, but I haven't yet. So I'm eyeing those ears that will never get worn and crumpled in our luggage because we have not learned to properly pack them, even though everybody, yourself included, everyone's explained it to me. They still just get shoved in a bag.
All right, anything else for your anniversary trip?
No, I think that is as far as I was able to plan my anniversary trip, my fake anniversary trip. But like I said, thinking about it was actually a lot of fun and it got me in the anniversary mood. Whereas I have spent a lot of time trying to avoid the anniversary. I'm really looking forward to everyone else's trips there. I'm going to watch all of the videos.
Yes, I can't wait for all of the videos. I feel like we're already starting to see some of them with like the sneak peeks of Remy's. And so I'm just excited for lots more YouTube videos to come.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Let us know in the comments what your real or dream anniversary plans are. And remember to like and subscribe to plan along with us.